South Africa really had to fight hard to prove its market-friendly credentials. But at the back of a lot of people's minds has always been this idea that when push came to shove, when the ANC finally found itself more pressured in a political sense, then maybe that adherence to market-friendly policy would give a little. And so from that perspective, the results of the local elections, or even just the voter turnout in those elections, are likely to be closely watched. At the moment, of course, there are still questions about there being a viable opposition, which is seen to be a significant factor in terms of how the ANC does, how much of a threat it feels politically. And that, in a strange kind of way, is giving investors room for thinking that maybe there isn't a big need to really recalibrate policy in a big way just yet. But this could change, of course, if there are any election-related shocks. There are a number of concerns, and I think one is that there has been this slow, almost insidious influence on policy, or at least the conversations, those influences on perhaps future policy, which suggest perhaps more radical steps are being thought about. Things that would not even have been voiced in the past are now becoming the common subject of most discussions. And that's got to be something that investors are increasingly wary of, but because it hasn't impacted on actual policy in a big way yet, perhaps that hasn't been reflected in financial market performance. The bigger concern is how all of this does progress over the next 5 to 10 years. What we've seen in the North African context is perhaps a wake-up call where you cannot take politics for granted, that there may be legitimate grievances related to delivery that will create political pressures on their own. Now, the big thinking about how all of this would influence ANC policy in terms of the investor community had always been that the threat would emerge from the left. I think many investors are wholly unprepared for the idea that the threat to this very centrist, market-friendly policy actually comes from the right of the party, which could be equally destructive, it could be equally destabilizing, if not more so, of the things that investors want to see in place. Transparency, the commitment to good governance, knowing that there will be respect for contractual obligations, the rule of law, all of the rest of it.